Hello, my dear Pisces. You are on the channel Astrology of the Path, and today we will talk in detail about March 2026. For you, this is not just another month, but a period of inner awakening and a very important personal turning point. Sometimes such months do not look loud from the outside, but they are the ones that change the inner feeling of life and the direction of the path. March may begin with the feeling that something inside you is changing. Pisces often feel changes earlier than they appear in the outer world. You may catch yourself reacting differently to familiar situations. What once seemed normal suddenly stops bringing joy, and what has been postponed for a long time begins to attract attention. During March, several important houses of the horoscope become especially active for Pisces. It is through these spheres of life that the events of the month and inner changes will manifest. When we understand which houses are activated, it becomes easier to notice the meaning of what is happening and not perceive changes as a coincidence. First of all, in March, the first house of personality becomes very strongly activated. This is the house of yourself, your energy, and the way you express yourself in the world. When planets pass through the first house, a person begins to feel that something inside is waking up. There may appear a desire to change the appearance, the lifestyle, the habits, or the attitude toward yourself. Sometimes it looks like a simple decision to take care of health, start moving more, or finally begin doing something that has been postponed for a long time. The first house is always connected with personal initiative. This is the moment when you start acting not because it is necessary, but because you truly want it. Many Pisces may notice that they become more decisive and doubt their desires less. Even if outwardly life does not change instantly, the inner feeling of strength gradually grows. The next important house that becomes activated in March is the second house of finances, values, and self-worth. This house is not only about money, although financial questions may indeed come to the foreground. It is much deeper. The second house shows how a person evaluates themselves, their work, and their abilities. In March, many Pisces may begin to ask themselves honest questions. Do I really value myself enough? Am I agreeing to less than I deserve? Sometimes this leads to practical decisions. For example, a person decides to ask for a salary increase, change working conditions, start a new source of income, or invest money into education and development. But the changes may also appear on a more subtle level. You begin to treat your resources differently and stop spending energy on things that do not bring a real return. A very important theme of the month also becomes the seventh house of relationships and partnership. It is through this house that one of the main events of March passes. Therefore, the theme of interaction with other people may become especially sensitive. The seventh house shows not only romantic relationships, but also any significant unions, business partnerships, cooperation, and even relationships with close friends. When this house becomes activated, people begin to see more clearly what is happening in their relationships. Sometimes it becomes clear that the connection has become deeper and stronger than before. And sometimes, on the contrary, comes the realization that the relationship is held only by habit or past experience. In such periods, honest conversations often happen which were postponed before. This is not necessarily a crisis. Rather, it is a moment of truth when each person begins to understand themselves and the other person better. In addition, in March, the 12th house of the inner world, the subconscious and spiritual processes, becomes noticeably activated. For Pisces, this house is especially important because it is connected with their natural sensitivity and intuition. When the 12th house becomes stronger than usual, a person begins to turn to their inner world more often. There may appear a desire to stay in silence, rest from the noise of people and information. Some Pisces may notice that they begin to think more, reflect on past events, or analyze the experience they have lived through. Sometimes this appears through dreams, memories, or sudden insights, when it suddenly becomes clear why certain situations happened in life. The 12th house is not about active actions, but about inner cleansing and the completion of old emotional stories. Thus, March for Pisces connects several important directions of life at once. The first house awakens personal energy and the desire to move forward. The second house makes you reconsider the attitude toward money and your own value. The seventh house brings relationships and honesty in partnership to the foreground. And the 12th house helps you understand yourself more deeply and let go of the past. When these houses work together, a person may feel that the old version of their life is gradually leaving and freeing space for a new stage. That is why March may become a month of quiet but very significant inner changes. And now let us look at the key dates of this month. On March 2nd, Mars enters the sign of Pisces and begins moving through your first house. This is a very important event because Mars brings the energy of action. But the energy of Mars in Pisces manifests not as a harsh struggle but as an inner impulse. You may feel a desire to change something in yourself or in your life. For example, start working on your body, change your lifestyle, or begin a project that has been postponed for a long time. Sometimes this even appears in small things. You suddenly decide to sort out the wardrobe, bring order into the house, or stop postponing tasks that have required attention for a long time. On this day, it is good to begin any personal initiatives. You can set a goal for the month to exercise, start morning walks, or begin work on a creative project. On March 3rd, a lunar eclipse occurs in Virgo, which affects your 7th house of relationships. This is one of the strongest points of the month. During eclipse days, conversations often happen that have been ripening for a long time. For example, a partner may say something that they have kept inside for a long time, or you yourself may feel that you no longer want to stay silent about your feelings. Sometimes this appears as an honest conversation about the future of the relationship. Someone may decide to move the relationship to a new level, and someone, on the contrary, may understand that the old format no longer suits them. On this day, it is better not to make sharp decisions, but simply observe what is happening and listen to yourself. On March 5th for Pisces, a harmonious aspect forms between the Sun and Jupiter. After the tension of the eclipse, this is a day of relief and inspiration. You may receive good news, hear support from a close person, or simply feel that the mood becomes lighter. It is a good day for meetings, communication, learning, and discussing ideas. If you have long wanted to talk with someone about plans or propose cooperation, this is a suitable moment. On March 6th, Venus enters the sign of Aries and activates your 2nd house of money and self-worth. During this period, you may begin to treat your resources differently. For example, think about whether your work is valued fairly. Some Pisces may feel the desire to ask for a salary increase, change working conditions, or start an additional source of income. In everyday life, this may appear more simply. For example, you decide to invest money in education, in your development, or in something that improves the quality of life. On March 7th, the Sun forms a conjunction with retrograde Mercury. This day may return you to past thoughts or conversations. Perhaps a person with whom there has been no contact for a long time will write to you, or a topic that you once did not complete will surface. Sometimes this appears as an inner conversation with yourself when you suddenly clearly understand why in the past you made a certain decision. On this day, it is better not to rush to conclusions. This is a time for reflection and analysis. On March 8th, the conjunction of Venus and Neptune makes the atmosphere very sensitive and romantic. Pisces may feel strong inspiration, a desire for beauty, music, and creativity. On such a day, it is good to engage in art, walk near water, listen to music, or spend time with close people. But in financial matters, it is better not to make serious decisions, because on this day, it is easy to idealize a situation. On March 9th, a harmonious aspect forms between retrograde Mercury and Jupiter. This is a day when many things begin to become clearer. Perhaps a conversation that has long been postponed can pass easily and calmly. Or you may find information that will help solve an old problem. It is a good day for learning, reading, planning trips, and discussing future projects. On March 13th, Mars connects with the North Karmic lunar node. This is a very fateful energy. Sometimes on such days, meetings or events occur that change the direction of life. You may meet a person who will offer a new work idea or a project. Or you may hear a proposal that at first seems unexpected, but with time you understand that it is exactly what opens a new path. On this day, it is important to listen to inner feelings. On March 14th, a tense aspect forms between Mars and the Black Moon. This is a day when emotions may be stronger than usual. Sometimes irritation appears without an obvious reason. An ordinary conversation may suddenly turn into a dispute. On this day, it is better not to enter conflicts and not react sharply. If you feel tension, it is better to switch to physical activity, a walk, or calm work. On March 15th, the conjunction of Mars and retrograde Mercury may return old conversations or unresolved questions. For example, you may again discuss a topic that has already been raised earlier. This is a good day to calmly clarify things, but it is important not to act impulsively. On March 16th, the tense aspect of Mercury and the Black Moon may create misunderstandings in communication. Sometimes people say one thing and something else is heard. Therefore, on this day, it is better to avoid important negotiations and serious decisions. It is better to devote time to simple tasks, bringing order or work that does not require complex discussions. On March 19th, a new moon occurs in Pisces. This is a very personal point of renewal for you. On such days, there is often a desire to start a new page of life. You may decide to change habits, start a new project, take care of your health, or change your attitude toward yourself. This is a good day for setting intentions. You can calmly think about what you want your life to look like in the coming year. On March 20th, the Sun enters the sign of Aries and the astrological new year begins. For Pisces, this activates the second house of finances and resources. After the inner work of the first weeks of the month, you begin to think more about practical questions such as income stability and how to use your talents. On March 21st, Mercury turns direct. After a period of doubts and revision, clarity appears. On this day, it becomes easier to reach agreements, sign documents, discuss plans, and make decisions. On March 22nd, the conjunction of the Sun and Neptune strengthens your natural intuition. Pisces may feel inspiration, a desire to create, or simply stay in silence. This is a good day for meditation. Creativity walks near water, and communication with people who understand you on a deep level. On March 25th, the conjunction of the Sun and Saturn brings a feeling of maturity and inner support. You may make an important decision, for example, change a financial strategy, set a long-term goal, or refuse something that no longer brings benefit. This day helps to see reality without illusions and build a more stable plan for the future. On March 30th, Venus enters the sign of Taurus, and by the end of the month, life becomes calmer and more stable. The feeling of pleasure from simple things returns. For example, there may appear a desire to spend more time with loved ones, cook delicious food, walk, enjoy nature, and the comfort of home. By the end of March, Pisces may feel that a new point of support has appeared inside. Perhaps you still do not know exactly where all the changes will lead, but you already feel that you are moving along a more honest and truly your own path. March teaches you an important art to listen to yourself and trust your intuition. Sometimes the most correct decisions come not from logic, but from a quiet inner feeling that says it is time to move forward. I hope that this forecast on the channel Astrology of the Path helped you better understand the energies of March and use them with benefit. Write in the comments what events and feelings especially resonate with you this month. Your experience may help other people see their processes more clearly. Subscribe to the channel so you do not miss new forecasts and analyses of astrological events. I am waiting for you in the next episodes, where we will continue to explore the energies of time and understand their meaning.